The cafe lights were too bright. That's what Arya Bennett thought as she sat alone at the small table near the window, watching her blind date walk out the door without looking back. The other customers weren't even pretending not to stare anymore. The couple at the corner table whispered behind their hands. The teenage barista wiped down the same spot on the counter 3 times while watching her. Arya's hands trembled as she reached for her water glass. The ice had melted completely, just like her hopes for this evening. Her coworker Brenda had sworn this would be different. "Trevor is a nice guy," she'd said. "He's got a good job, he's kind, and he's ready to settle down." What Brenda hadn't mentioned was that Trevor had very specific ideas about what settling down meant, and it definitely didn't include a 5-year-old daughter. "You have a kid?" Trevor had said, his face changing the moment Arya mentioned Lily. Not angry exactly. Just closed off. Like a door slamming shut. "That's a lot of responsibility. I'm not really looking for that right now." He'd left money for his coffee on the table and walked out. On Christmas Eve, while Christmas music played through the cafe speakers, mocking her with lyrics about joy and togetherness, Arya blinked back tears and pulled out her phone. 3 missed calls from her landlord, Mr. Henderson. The eviction notice he'd taped to her door yesterday felt like it was burning a hole through her purse. 2 months behind on rent. The car repair bill sitting unpaid on her kitchen counter. Lily's school supplies for next semester. The list went on and on, each item a weight pressing down on her chest. Her phone buzzed. A text from her neighbor, Mrs. Chin, who was watching Lily tonight. "Lily keeps asking when mommy is coming home. She made you a Christmas card. How's the date going?" Arya's vision blurred. She typed back quickly, "On my way soon. Thank you so much." She couldn't afford to pay Mrs. Chen the $20 she'd promised. She couldn't afford anything. Working double shifts at the hospital as a nursing assistant barely covered groceries. Every month was a calculation, a desperate shuffle of which bill could wait and which one absolutely couldn't. And now, sitting in this too bright cafe on Christmas Eve, Arya felt the full weight of her loneliness. Not just the lack of a partner, but the exhausting, relentless solitude of carrying everything alone. Of being the only one who would catch Lily if she fell. The only one who would wake up in the middle of the night when Lily had a fever. The only one who had to figure out how to make $8 stretch for dinner. She was 28 years old and felt like she was drowning. "Excuse me." Arya looked up. A man stood beside her table. Asian, probably in his mid-30s, wearing a perfectly tailored navy suit and a crisp white shirt. His black hair was neat, his expression serious but not unkind. He looked completely out of place in this neighborhood cafe. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said. His voice was quiet, measured. "But I couldn't help overhearing some of your conversation earlier." Arya's cheeks burned. Of course he'd heard. Everyone had heard Trevor's rejection. "I'm not a creep," the man continued quickly as if reading her thoughts. "I promise. My name is Joseph Park. I own Park Technologies downtown." He pulled out a business card and set it on the table. "I have a proposition that might sound strange, but I'd like you to hear me out." Arya glanced at the card. Park Technologies. She'd heard of them. They made some kind of software that half the companies in the city used. This man was rich. Really rich. "What kind of proposition?" she asked carefully. Joseph gestured to the empty chair across from her. "May I sit?" She nodded, too tired to be cautious. He sat down and folded his hands on the table. "I need a wife." Arya almost laughed. "What?" "I know how it sounds," Joseph said. "But please let me explain. My grandmother is dying. She has maybe 3 months left. Her last wish, the only thing she's asked for, is to see me married and settled before she passes. She's been asking for 2 years now and I kept putting it off thinking I had more time." "Why don't you just get married then?" Arya asked. "You're clearly successful. You must know women who—" "I don't," Joseph interrupted. "I don't have time for dating. I work 16-hour days. My company is in the middle of a crucial expansion. And honestly, after my parents died, I shut everyone out. I don't have close friends anymore. No girlfriend. No prospects. Just work and my grandmother. I still don't understand what this has to do with me." Joseph leaned forward slightly. "I overheard you mention your daughter. I heard what that man said to you. And I saw your phone screen when you checked it. The eviction notice. The bills." Arya's face flushed with humiliation. "I'm not trying to embarrass you," Joseph said gently. "I'm trying to explain that we could help each other. I need someone to marry me for 1 year. Just 1 year. Long enough for my grandmother to see me settled and pass peacefully. In exchange, I'll pay you $500,000. Plus, I'll take care of all your current debts. Rent, car repairs, whatever you need. And your daughter would have access to the best schools, healthcare, everything. The cafe seemed to tilt. $500,000. Arya couldn't even imagine that much money. This is crazy, she whispered. It is, Joseph agreed. I know it is. But I'm desperate and I think you are too. It would be a business arrangement. A contract. You and your daughter would live in my penthouse. Separate bedrooms, completely respectful. We'd attend some family events together, make it look real for my grandmother. After she passes and the year is up, we'd quietly divorce. You'd walk away with enough money to completely restart your life. Arya's mind raced. This couldn't be real. People didn't actually do things like this. But she looked at Joseph's face and saw only sincerity and desperation that probably mirrored her own. Why me? She asked. You could hire anyone. Because you have a daughter, Joseph said. My grandmother always wanted me to have a family, not just a wife. When she meets your little girl, she'll be so happy. I heard how you talked about your daughter earlier before that man left. The love in your voice. You're a good mother. I can tell. I need someone genuine, someone who won't take advantage or try to extort more money later. I know this sounds insane, but something in my gut says I can trust you. Arya thought about Lily's face when she'd hugged her goodbye earlier. About the worry in those big brown eyes when Lily had asked, Mommy, are we going to have to move again? She thought about the eviction notice. About working double shifts and still falling behind. About the hopelessness that had become her constant companion. And she thought about $500,000. About stability. About giving Lily the life she deserved. If I said yes, Arya began slowly, how would this work? Joseph's expression softened with relief. We'd meet with my lawyer tomorrow. Christmas Day, I know, but he owes me a favor. We'd sign a contract outlining everything. Then we'd get married at the courthouse the next day. You and your daughter would move into my place immediately. I'd introduce you to my grandmother probably next week. After that, we'd just live our lives. Coexist peacefully. Make appearances together when needed. And after a year? Clean divorce. All the money transfers to you as agreed. We part ways. No strings. Arya closed her eyes. Every logical part of her brain screamed that this was ridiculous, potentially dangerous, absolutely insane. But the exhausted, desperate mother in her saw a lifeline. Okay, she said, opening her eyes. Yes, I'll do it. Joseph's shoulders sagged with visible relief. Thank you. You have no idea what this means to me. When do we start? Now, Joseph said. He pulled out his phone. What's your address? I'm sending a car to pay your landlord tonight. Full amount owed plus 3 months in advance in case you need time to move your things. And I'll have my assistant arrange movers for the day after tomorrow. Arya gave him the information in a daze. This was really happening. One more thing, Joseph said. He pulled out a checkbook and wrote quickly, then tore off the check and handed it to her. For immediate expenses. Merry Christmas. Arya looked at the check. $10,000. Her hands started shaking again, but this time not from despair. I don't know what to say. Say you'll be at my lawyer's office tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Joseph wrote an address on the back of another business card. Bring your daughter. I'd like to meet her. He stood up, buttoned his suit jacket, and extended his hand. Arya shook it, still feeling like she was in a dream. Thank you, Arya, Joseph said. You're saving my grandmother's last days. I won't forget that. After he left, Arya sat in the Too Bright cafe for 10 more minutes, staring at the check in her hands. Outside the window, snow began to fall. Christmas music still played. But everything had changed. She thought about Trevor walking out. About every man who'd rejected her because of Lily. About every door that had closed in her face. And she thought about the door that had just opened. Arya tucked the check carefully into her purse, left money for her untouched coffee, and walked out into the snow. She had to get home to Lily. They had a lot to talk about. Their lives were about to transform in ways Arya couldn't even imagine yet. The worst Christmas Eve had just become the strangest Christmas Eve. And maybe, just maybe, it would turn out to be the best one after all. Have you ever felt so desperate that a stranger's offer seemed like your only hope? What would you do in Arya's position? Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts. And if you're enjoying this story, please subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. This is only the beginning. Christmas morning arrived with pale sunlight streaming through the thin curtains of Arya's cramped apartment. Lily bounced on her bed at 6 in the morning, exactly as Arya had known she would. Mommy, it's Christmas. Can we open presents now? Arya pulled her daughter close, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. Last night, after coming home from the cafe, she'd sat up for hours trying to figure out how to explain everything to a 5-year-old. How do you tell your child that you're marrying a stranger? That you're moving to a penthouse? That everything is about to change? Baby, come sit with mommy. We need to talk about something important. Lily climbed into her lap, her small face curious. She wore the pink pajamas with the unicorns, the ones Arya had bought at a thrift store 3 months ago. They were getting too small already. Remember how mommy went on a date last night? Lily nodded solemnly. Did you find a new daddy? The question pierced Arya's heart. She hadn't realized how much Lily wanted that. Sort of, Arya said carefully. I met someone very nice named Joseph. He asked me to marry him. Lily's eyes went wide. Really? That's so fast. Princesses in stories take longer. Despite everything, Arya smiled. You're right. It is very fast. But here's the thing, sweetheart. Joseph needs help. His grandma is very sick, and she wants to see him married before she goes to heaven. And we need help too, remember? With the apartment and money? Because Mr. Henderson is always mad at us, Lily said. He won't be mad anymore, Arya promised. Joseph is going to help us. We're going to move to his house. It's a really big, beautiful place with huge windows and your own bedroom. You'll go to a new school with lots of nice things. And we won't have to worry about money anymore. Lily processed this with the seriousness of a much older child. She'd grown up too fast, Arya thought sadly. She'd heard too many worried conversations, seen too many bills on the table. Will Joseph be nice to us? Lily asked. I think so, baby. I really do. Okay, mommy. If you think it's good, then I trust you. Arya hugged her daughter tighter. The weight of that trust was enormous. At 9:30, Arya dressed Lily in her best outfit, a green dress that Arya had sewn herself from clearance fabric. Arya wore her only professional clothes, a maroon blouse and black pants. She counted the $10,000 check 3 times, still unable to believe it was real. The lawyer's office was downtown in a glass tower that made Arya feel very small. The lobby had marble floors and a doorman in a uniform. Lily held tight to Arya's hand as they rode the elevator to the 20th floor. Joseph was already waiting in the conference room. He stood when they entered, and Arya got her first good look at him in full daylight. He was handsome in a quiet way. Strong features, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, an expression that seemed permanently serious. He wore jeans today and a simple blue sweater. Trying to look casual, Arya guessed. You must be Lily, Joseph said, crouching down to her level. I'm Joseph. Your mom told you about me? Lily nodded, suddenly shy. She pressed against Arya's leg. I'm glad you're here, Joseph continued. I was hoping we could be friends. I heard you like to read. Is that true? Lily perked up. I love reading. Mommy reads to me every night. Me too, Joseph said. I love reading. Not that your mom reads to me. He smiled, a bit awkward. Maybe sometime you could tell me about your favorite books? Okay, Lily said, warming up to him. The lawyer, a short man named Mr. Goldstein with a bald head and a friendly face, spread papers across the table. All right, let's get down to business. Ms. Bennett, I've prepared a contract outlining the terms of this arrangement. For the next hour, Mr. Goldstein walked Arya through every detail. The marriage would last 1 year. Joseph would pay all living expenses during that time. Arya and Lily would live in his penthouse with full access to everything. At the end of the year, Arya would receive $500,000, and they would divorce quietly. There's a morality clause, Mr. Goldstein explained. Both parties agree not to engage in romantic relationships with others during the contract period. Standard stuff. And there's a confidentiality agreement. You can't discuss the terms of this arrangement with anyone. What about my family? Arya asked. You can tell them you got married, Joseph said. Just not the details of the contract. As far as they know, we met and fell in love quickly. I don't have much family to tell, Arya admitted. My parents passed away when I was 22. Car accident. I have a cousin in Texas I haven't spoken to in years. Something flickered in Joseph's eyes. My parents died 3 years ago. Same way. Car accident. Their eyes met across the table. A moment of understanding passed between them. There's also this, Mr. Goldstein said, sliding another document forward. Mr. Park wants to set up a trust fund for Lily. College tuition, fully funded, regardless of what happens with the marriage. Arya's breath caught. What? Joseph, that's too much. It's not, Joseph said firmly. She's going to be part of this arrangement too. She deserves something for herself out of it. Arya felt tears prick her eyes. Nobody had ever thought about Lily like that. Nobody had ever cared about her daughter's future except Arya herself. There's one more thing, Joseph said. He looked uncomfortable. My grandmother will want to meet you soon. Probably this week. We need to be convincing. That doesn't mean we have to pretend to be madly in love, but we should probably know basic things about each other. Maybe spend some time together before the meeting? That makes sense, Arya agreed. Mr. Goldstein produced 2 pens. If everything looks good, we can sign today. The courthouse is closed for Christmas, but I've arranged for a judge friend to marry you tomorrow at his home. Very small, very private. Just the legal minimum. Arya looked at the contract. At the numbers that seemed impossible. At the clauses protecting her and Lily. She thought about Mr. Henderson's angry calls. About choosing between groceries and gas money. About the look on Lily's face when Arya had to say no to things other kids had. She picked up the pen. Wait, Joseph said. Arya's heart sank. Was he changing his mind? I want to add something, Joseph continued. Mr. Goldstein, can we include a clause that if anything happens to me during this year, the full amount still goes to Arya? Plus life insurance beneficiary status. I want to make sure she and Lily are protected no matter what. Mr. Goldstein looked surprised but nodded. That's very generous, Mr. Park. It's fair, Joseph said simply. Arya stared at him. This stranger was offering her more security and kindness than anyone had in years. Thank you, she whispered. For all of this. I promise I'll hold up my end. I'll be a good wife at least in appearance. I'll make your grandmother happy. I know you will, Joseph said. And he sounded like he meant it. They signed the papers. Mr. Goldstein witnessed and notarized everything. Just like that, Arya's life pivoted on the axis of one impossible decision. The movers will come to your apartment tomorrow afternoon, Joseph said as they prepared to leave. Pack everything you want to keep. Don't worry about furniture. The penthouse is fully furnished. Just clothes, personal items, Lily's toys. Okay, Arya said. Everything was moving so fast. Joseph knelt down next to Lily again. I'm really glad we're going to be living together, Lily. I think we're going to be good friends. Will you read me stories? Lily asked. If you want me to, absolutely. And can I have pancakes for breakfast? Joseph laughed. It transformed his serious face completely. Every day if you want. I make pretty good pancakes. As they left the building, Lily tugged on Arya's hand. Mommy, I like him. He has nice eyes. Arya looked back at the building where Joseph was probably already heading back to work. Yeah, baby. He does have nice eyes. That night, Arya packed their belongings into 3 suitcases and 5 cardboard boxes. Everything they owned fit into so little space. Lily's stuffed animals. Their clothes. The framed photo of Arya's parents. The handmade Mother's Day cards Lily had given her over the years. She looked around the cramped apartment with its peeling paint and rattling heater. She'd been so unhappy here, so stressed and scared. But it had been theirs. The last place where life had been normal before everything changed. Tomorrow she would marry a stranger. Tomorrow she would move into a world she didn't understand. But Lily would have her own bedroom. And enough to eat. And a future that didn't involve struggle. Arya lay down next to her sleeping daughter and stroked her hair. I'm doing this for you, she whispered. I hope someday you understand that everything I do is for you. Outside, snow fell on the city. Christmas lights twinkled from other apartment windows. Somewhere across town, Joseph probably sat in his penthouse, signing contracts and answering emails, preparing for his life to change too. 2 desperate people. One impossible arrangement. What could possibly go wrong? The judge's house was a modest colonial in the suburbs with a wreath on the door and lights still up from Christmas. His wife answered, wearing an apron and smiling warmly. You must be the couple Jeffrey told me about. Come in, come in. The ceremony took 10 minutes. Arya wore the same maroon blouse from yesterday. Joseph wore a gray suit. Lily stood between them, holding a small bouquet of white flowers that Joseph had bought that morning. The judge's wife served as witness, beaming at them like they were a real couple in love. Do you, Joseph Park, take Arya Bennett to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. And do you, Arya Bennett, take Joseph Park to be your lawfully wedded husband? Arya looked at Joseph. His expression was calm, neutral. This was a transaction. A business deal. I do, she said. Then by the power vested in me by the state, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. They hadn't discussed this part. Joseph leaned forward awkwardly and pressed a quick, dry kiss to Arya's cheek. It was over in a second. The judge's wife took photos with her phone, insisted they have cookies and coffee, and sent them off with genuine congratulations. As they walked to Joseph's car, a sleek silver sedan, Arya looked at the gold band now on her left hand. Simple, elegant, expensive. Her first wedding ring. From a man she barely knew. "You okay?" Joseph asked as he buckled Lily into the back seat. "Just processing," Arya admitted. "Yeah, me too." The drive to Joseph's penthouse took 20 minutes. Lily pressed her face to the window, watching the city transform from modest neighborhoods to gleaming towers. They pulled into an underground garage with more security than Arya's entire apartment building had ever seen. The elevator required a key card. It opened directly into Joseph's home. Arya stepped out and stopped breathing. The penthouse was enormous. The entire far wall was floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Sunlight poured in, making everything bright and clean. The floors were pale hardwood. The furniture was modern but comfortable. A large white sectional sofa, a glass dining table, abstract art on the walls in blues and greens. The kitchen had marble countertops and stainless steel appliances that looked like they'd never been used. "Wow," Lily breathed. "Mommy, it's like a castle." "It's too much," Arya said faintly. "It's your home now," Joseph said simply. "Come on, I'll show you your rooms." He led them down a hallway with more windows. 3 bedrooms, his master suite, a guest room for Arya, and a smaller room that Joseph had already had decorated for Lily. It had a white bed with a pink comforter, shelves full of books, and a window seat overlooking the city. Lily ran to the window seat and climbed up. "Mommy, look. I can see everything." "Do you like it?" Joseph asked, watching Lily's reaction carefully. "I love it," Lily said. "Thank you, Joseph." "You're welcome." Arya's room was next door to Lily's. Queen bed, attached bathroom, a closet bigger than her old bedroom had been. Everything was crisp and white and clean. "The movers are bringing your things in about an hour," Joseph said. "I need to go into the office for a few hours this afternoon, but I'll be back for dinner. There's food in the fridge. Make yourselves at home." "Really?" After he left, Arya wandered through the penthouse in a daze. She opened the refrigerator and found it fully stocked. Fresh fruit, vegetables, milk, juice, everything. The pantry had more food than she'd seen in one place in years. She made Lily a sandwich with actual deli meat, not the cheap stuff, and watched her daughter eat it at the huge dining table, legs swinging, happy. The movers arrived with their boxes. It took all of 10 minutes to bring everything up. Arya's entire life, unpacked in this massive space, looked absurdly small. She spent the afternoon putting away clothes and setting up Lily's room. Lily arranged her stuffed animals on the window seat and organized her books on the shelves. When she was done, she came and found Arya. "Mommy, I want to explore. Can we?" They wandered through the penthouse together. Found a small office with built-in bookshelves. A second bathroom with a huge tub. A laundry room with a washer and dryer that looked brand new. Everything was so clean, so perfect, so utterly foreign. Joseph came home at 6:30, carrying takeout bags. "I wasn't sure what you liked," he said, setting containers on the counter. "So I got Thai, Italian, and Chinese. Whatever you don't eat tonight, we can have tomorrow." They ate at the dining table, the 3 of them, passing containers back and forth. Lily chattered about her new room. Joseph asked questions, genuinely interested. He taught her how to use chopsticks, patient and kind when she dropped noodles on her lap. After dinner, Joseph disappeared into his office to work. Arya gave Lily a bath in the huge tub, then tucked her into the new bed. "Mommy, is this real?" Lily asked sleepily. "Yes, baby. It's real. I like Joseph. He's nice. I'm glad. Are you happy, Mommy?" Arya smoothed Lily's hair. "I'm hopeful. How about that?" After Lily fell asleep, Arya found Joseph in his office, laptop open, papers everywhere. "Sorry," he said, looking up. "This expansion deal is killing me. I've been working on it for 8 months. It's fine. You don't need to apologize. This is your home. Your life. We're just temporary additions." Joseph frowned. "Don't say that. You're my wife. Lily is, she's part of this now. You're not temporary additions." "For a year," Arya reminded him gently. "Right. For a year." He looked at his papers. "Listen, about my grandmother. She wants to meet you this weekend. Sunday lunch. Is that okay?" "Of course. That's the whole point, right?" "Yeah, but I want you to be prepared. She's going to ask a lot of questions. How we met, how I proposed, all of it. We need to have our story straight." They spent the next hour creating their cover story. They'd met at a coffee shop, the same cafe where Joseph had actually approached Arya. He'd spilled coffee on her, they'd started talking, he'd asked for her number. They'd gone on 3 dates before he proposed. It was fast, but when you know, you know. That was the line they'd use. "She'll love Lily," Joseph said. "My grandmother always wanted grandchildren. After my parents died, she gave up hope." "Tell me about her," Arya said. "About your family." Joseph leaned back in his chair. "My parents immigrated from Seoul before I was born. They worked crazy hours, saved every penny, put me through MIT. They built a good life here. Then 3 years ago, they were driving home from a vacation and a drunk driver crossed the center line. They died instantly. I'm so sorry. My grandmother lives in a senior community about 30 minutes from here. She's 82. Lung cancer stage 4. The doctors give her 3 to 6 months. She's the last family I have left. I can't let her die thinking I'm alone." Arya understood. That kind of love, that fierce protection. She felt it for Lily every day. "We'll make her believe it," Arya promised. "We'll make her happy." "Thank you." Joseph looked at her for a long moment. "I'm glad it's you. I know that sounds strange, but I am. You and Lily, you feel real. Genuine. I need that right now." That night, Arya lay in her new bed, staring at the ceiling. Everything was soft and comfortable. The sheets were high thread count. The mattress was perfect. But she couldn't sleep. She was married. To a stranger. Living in a penthouse. It was like waking up in someone else's life. Down the hall, she heard Joseph still working. The quiet tap of his keyboard. This man who was now her husband but wasn't really her husband. This arrangement that was a contract but felt like something else. Arya closed her eyes and tried to imagine the next year. Tried to picture how this would all unfold. But she couldn't see the future. Could only hold on to the present moment. Her daughter safe in the next room. Bills paid. Food in the fridge. A roof over their heads. For now that was enough. The first week passed in a strange blur. Arya woke early each morning, still not used to the silence of the penthouse. No traffic noise. No neighbors fighting through thin walls. Just quiet and sunlight. Joseph left for work by 7 but always made sure there was coffee ready and breakfast supplies set out. Little gestures that surprised Arya every time. She'd been alone for so long that having someone think of her needs felt foreign. On Tuesday, Joseph's assistant, a efficient woman named Patricia, came by to discuss Lily's school enrollment. "Bridgemont Academy has agreed to accept Lily starting in January," Patricia said, sitting at the dining table with forms spread everywhere. "It's one of the best private schools in the city. Small class sizes, excellent arts program, strong academics." "How much does it cost?" Arya asked, even though she knew she probably couldn't afford even 1 month's tuition. "Already handled," Patricia said briskly. "Mr. Park has set up an account covering all expenses. Tuition, supplies, uniforms, field trips, everything." Arya felt overwhelmed again. He didn't mention this. Mr. Park doesn't usually mention things. He just does them. Patricia smiled slightly. "He's been the same way since I started working for him 5 years ago. Generous to a fault, terrible at accepting gratitude." After Patricia left, Arya called Joseph. "The school," she said when he answered. "You didn't tell me you were enrolling Lily in private school. Is that okay?" He sounded genuinely worried. "I should have asked first. I'm sorry. If you want to choose a different school, that's fine." "No, it's amazing. You keep doing these things and I don't know how to thank you." "You don't need to thank me. It's part of the arrangement." But it felt like more than that. It felt like he actually cared. That Friday, Mrs. Park came to visit. Joseph had warned Arya, but she still felt unprepared when the elegant elderly woman walked into the penthouse with a health aide supporting her arm. Mrs. Park was tiny, barely 5 feet tall, wearing a green silk blouse and black pants despite her obvious frailty. Her hair was completely white, pulled back in a neat bun. Her eyes were sharp and kind. "So you're my grandson's wife," she said, studying Arya. "Yes, ma'am. It's an honor to meet you." Mrs. Park waved away the formality. "Call me grandmother. Or Halmoni if you want to be traditional. Where is the child?" "In her room." "Should I get her?" "Of course. I want to meet my granddaughter." When Arya brought Lily out, Mrs. Park's face transformed. Pure joy radiated from her. She sat on the sofa and held out her arms, and Lily, after a moment's hesitation, went to her. "Beautiful," Mrs. Park said softly, touching Lily's face. "You look like sunshine. Do you know that?" Lily giggled. "That's silly. I'm not yellow." Mrs. Park laughed, a sound that dissolved into coughing. The health aide rushed forward with water. When she recovered, Mrs. Park kept Lily close. Tell me about yourself, little one. What do you like? I like reading. And drawing. And my mommy. Good answers. Family is the most important thing. Mrs. Park looked at Arya. You've raised her well. Thank you, grandmother. They spent the afternoon together. Mrs. Park told stories about Joseph as a boy, how serious he'd always been, how he'd taught himself to read at 4 years old. She asked Arya about her parents, and Arya found herself talking about them more than she had in years. Loss leaves holes in us, Mrs. Park said quietly. But sometimes those holes make room for new love. New family. Before she left, Mrs. Park pulled a box from her bag. Inside were 2 handmade quilts, one for Arya and one for Lily, stitched with traditional Korean patterns. I made these for my son's children, she said. I thought I'd never get to give them away. But here you are. My family. After she left, Arya cried for reasons she couldn't fully explain. The kindness overwhelmed her. The acceptance. The way Mrs. Park had looked at Lily like she was precious. That night, Joseph came home early. Arya was making dinner, spaghetti and salad, nothing fancy. How did it go with my grandmother? He asked, loosening his tie. She's wonderful. She brought quilts. She loves quilts. She's been making them since I was a kid. Joseph sat at the kitchen counter watching Arya cook. She liked you. She called me at work to tell me I'd chosen well. We're lying to her, Arya said quietly. Doesn't that bother you? Every day, Joseph admitted. But I'd rather lie and give her peace than tell the truth and break her heart in her last months. It was hard to argue with that logic. Over dinner, Lily asked Joseph about his work. What do you do all day? I make software, Joseph explained. Computer programs that help companies organize their information. Is it fun? Sometimes. Mostly it's solving problems. Like puzzles. I like puzzles, Lily said. The picture ones. Maybe we can do some together this weekend, Joseph suggested. Then he looked at Arya. If that's okay with your mom? Of course it's okay. That weekend, Joseph didn't go into the office. Instead, he took them to the Science Museum. Lily ran from exhibit to exhibit, excited and curious. Joseph answered her endless questions with patience Arya hadn't expected. He lifted her up to see displays she couldn't reach. He bought her a stuffed dinosaur from the gift shop that she immediately named Rex. At the planetarium show, Lily sat between them in the dark. When the stars appeared overhead, she reached out and grabbed both their hands. Joseph's fingers were warm. He didn't pull away. Back at the penthouse, they made dinner together. Joseph taught Lily how to measure ingredients. Arya chopped vegetables while they laughed over a mistake with too much flour. The kitchen filled with comfortable chaos. After Lily went to bed, Arya and Joseph sat on the sofa with glasses of wine, looking out at the city lights. This is nice, Joseph said quietly. I haven't had this in a long time. Had what? Company. Laughter in this place. It's been so empty for so long. Arya studied his profile. The tiredness in his eyes. The loneliness he carried. She recognized it because she carried the same thing. Tell me about your parents, she said. Not how they died. How they lived. Joseph smiled, sad but genuine. My dad loved bad jokes. The kind that make you groan. My mom sang constantly, even though she couldn't carry a tune. They held hands everywhere they went. Grocery store, church, walking down the street. Always holding hands. They sound lovely. They were. They worked so hard to give me opportunities. I built this company partially for them. To honor their sacrifices. He looked at his wine. I wish they could have met you and Lily. I wish they could have too. The moment stretched between them. Comfortable. Easy. For a heartbeat, it didn't feel like an arrangement. It felt real. Then Joseph's phone buzzed. He excused himself to his office. Arya sat alone on the sofa, feeling the weight of something she couldn't name. She was living with a good man. A kind man. A lonely man. Just like her. Lonely. The arrangement suddenly felt more complicated than a simple contract. January arrived with cold winds and gray skies. Lily started at Bridgemont Academy and came home every day with stories about new friends and interesting lessons. Joseph helped her with homework in the evenings, explaining math concepts with impressive patience. Arya found a routine. She dropped her nursing assistant job as Joseph insisted she didn't need to work. Instead, she spent her days making the penthouse feel like a home. She cooked real meals. She filled vases with fresh flowers. She learned Joseph's preferences, Black coffee, no sugar. Thai food on Fridays. Quiet in the mornings. In return, Joseph made space for them in his life. He came home by 6 most nights. He asked about Lily's day. He watched movies with them on weekends, introducing Lily to classics she'd never seen. One evening in mid-January, Joseph arrived home with a large box. "What's that?" Arya asked. "A projector. I thought we could do movie nights. Real ones with the screen and everything." They set it up in the living room. That Friday they watched an animated movie about dragons, Lily curled up between them with popcorn. When a sad scene came on, Lily grabbed both their hands again, seeking comfort. Arya glanced over Lily's head at Joseph. He was already looking at her. Something passed between them. An acknowledgement of this odd intimacy they'd built. After Lily fell asleep, they cleaned up the popcorn kernels together. "She's getting attached to you," Arya said carefully. "You know that, right?" "I know," Joseph said. He didn't sound concerned. He sounded pleased. "Joseph, in 11 months this ends. We need to be careful. I don't want her hurt." "I don't want her hurt either." He looked at Arya seriously. "Would it be so terrible if we stayed in touch after? If I was still part of her life?" The question caught Arya off guard. "You'd want that?" "Yeah, I would. She's a great kid, Arya. And you're—" He stopped himself. "I'm what?" "You're a good person. This hasn't felt like a transaction in a long time. Feels like, I don't know, like we're actually building something here." Arya's heart beat faster. "We're friends?" "Yeah, friends." But the way he said it sounded uncertain. The next Saturday, Joseph took them ice skating. The rink was outdoors, surrounded by lights and vendors selling hot chocolate. Lily had never skated before. Neither had Arya really. They wobbled onto the ice, laughing, holding onto the rail. Joseph skated backward in front of them, holding both their hands, pulling them forward. "You're showing off," Arya accused, laughing. "Little bit," Joseph admitted with a grin. "My parents used to bring me here as a kid. I spent every winter on this rink." He taught Lily how to glide, how to stop. He caught Arya when she slipped, his arms strong around her waist. For a moment they were face to face, breathing hard from laughter. "Careful," he murmured. "I'm okay," she whispered back. But she wasn't okay. Because in that moment, Arya realized she was developing feelings for her contract husband. Real feelings. The kind that made her chest ache when he smiled. The kind that made her notice when he was stressed. The kind that made her want to reach out and touch him. This wasn't part of the arrangement. That night, after Lily was asleep, Arya poured herself a glass of wine and stood at the windows, looking at the city. Joseph joined her. "You've been quiet since the rink," he observed. "Just thinking." "About what?" Arya considered lying. Deflecting. But they'd been honest with each other so far. "About how complicated this is becoming," she admitted. "Yeah," Joseph said softly. "It is." They stood in silence for a moment. "Arya," Joseph began, then stopped. Started again. "I need to tell you something. This last month, having you and Lily here, it's been the happiest I've been since my parents died. I wake up and there are voices in this place. Laughter. Life. I'm not lonely anymore." "Joseph, let me finish. I know we have a contract. I know this was supposed to be business. But somewhere along the way it stopped being that. At least for me. I look forward to coming home. I think about you during the day. I want to know if Lily's math test went well. I want to hear about your day. This isn't what I expected, but I'm not sorry it happened." Arya's breath caught. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I have feelings for you. Real ones. And I think maybe you feel something too." "This is a terrible idea," Arya said, but her voice shook. "Probably," Joseph agreed. "But that doesn't change how I feel." He reached out slowly, giving her time to step away. When she didn't, he cupped her face gently. "Tell me to stop," he whispered. "Tell me this crosses a line and I'll back off. I'll go back to being just your contract husband. But if there's any chance you feel the same way." Arya closed her eyes. This was dangerous. Complicated. Could ruin everything. But she did feel the same way. Had been feeling it for weeks now. "I feel the same way," she admitted. "But I'm scared." "Me too." He leaned in slowly. Gave her every opportunity to pull back. When their lips met, it was soft and questioning. Nothing like the awkward peck at their wedding. This was real. Arya's hands came up to his chest. She could feel his heart racing under her palms. The kiss deepened. All the loneliness, the fear, the growing affection poured into that moment. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Joseph rested his forehead against hers. What do we do now? Arya asked. I don't know. But I don't want to pretend anymore. Not with you. Over the next weeks, they navigated this new territory carefully. During the day they were cautious. But at night, after Lily slept, they'd sit close on the sofa, hold hands, talk for hours about everything and nothing. Joseph told her about building his company from nothing, about the fear of failure, about missing his parents every single day. Arya told him about the loneliness of single motherhood, about the fear that she wasn't enough, about how hard it was to trust after Lily's father abandoned them. They kissed on the sofa one night, surrounded by the city lights. Long, slow kisses that made Arya forget why this was supposed to be temporary. But they didn't tell Lily. Didn't change the sleeping arrangements. Took things slowly, carefully, both aware of how much was at stake. One night, Joseph pulled out his phone and showed Arya something. My grandmother called today. She wants to do a family dinner next weekend. All the relatives. I'll be there. Whatever you need. That's the thing. Joseph looked nervous. They're going to ask questions. Real questions. About our relationship. And I'm tired of lying. At least, I'm tired of lying to you about my feelings. Would it be okay if we told them something closer to the truth? That we're really falling for each other? Arya smiled. We can tell them that. Because it's not a lie anymore. Joseph kissed her softly. No. It's not. But as Arya lay in bed that night, she couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. They were falling for each other, yes. But the contract still had an end date. Money would still change hands. And his extended family, whoever they were, didn't know anything about the original arrangement. What would happen when the truth came out? When the year ended and decisions had to be made? Arya pushed the thoughts away. For now she had this. Whatever this was becoming. She'd face the complications later. Mrs. Park's health declined rapidly in February. Joseph visited her every other day, sometimes bringing Lily, sometimes going alone. Each time he came back quieter, more withdrawn. Arya wanted to help but didn't know how. She made his favorite foods. Sat with him in silence when he needed it. Held him when he let her. One evening he came home from a visit and went straight to his office without a word. Arya followed after a few minutes. Joseph sat at his desk, head in his hands. She's in pain, he said without looking up. So much pain. And there's nothing I can do. Nothing. Arya knelt beside his chair. You're there. That's everything. Is it enough? It has to be. He pulled her into his lap, buried his face in her shoulder. She held him while he cried quietly, the first time she'd seen him break down. I'm losing her, he whispered. My last family. You have us, Arya said, then realized what she'd said. I mean for now. While we're. Don't, Joseph interrupted. He pulled back to look at her. Don't qualify it. You're right. I have you. I have Lily. However this started, we're family now. Aren't we? Arya nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. Want to see how this impossible arrangement becomes real love? Don't forget to subscribe and comment below. What would you do if you fell for someone who was supposed to be temporary? Your thoughts keep this story going. The call came at 3 in the morning on a Tuesday. Joseph's phone rang and Arya woke to hear him answering, his voice thick with sleep turning instantly alert. I'll be right there. He was out of bed before Arya could ask questions, pulling on clothes. It's my grandmother. The facility called. They don't think she has much time. I'm coming with you, Arya said, already getting up. You don't have to. Joseph, I'm coming. They woke Lily, who was confused but got dressed without complaint. 20 minutes later, they were racing through empty streets toward the senior facility. Mrs. Park's room was dim and quiet. The elderly woman lay in bed, surrounded by machines that beeped softly. She looked so small, so fragile. But when Joseph entered, her eyes opened. There's my boy, she whispered. Joseph took her hand, careful of the four. Arya hung back with Lily, not wanting to intrude on this moment. Grandmother, Joseph said, his voice breaking. Come closer. All of you. Arya approached with Lily. Mrs. Park's eyes found them and warmed. My family, she said. My beautiful family. Come here, child. Lily climbed carefully onto the bed, lying down next to Mrs. Park. The old woman stroked her hair. You remind me of my daughter, she told Lily. She died when she was young. I never thought I'd have a granddaughter. But here you are. I love you, grandmother, Lily said simply. Tears ran down Mrs. Park's face. I love you too, sunshine. She looked at Joseph. You did well. This woman, this child, they're exactly what you needed. They are, Joseph agreed, looking at Arya. Mrs. Park reached for Arya's hand. Take care of him. He works too hard. He forgets to live. Make him remember. I will, Arya promised. And Joseph. Mrs. Park's voice was fading. I know. Joseph stiffened. Know what? About the arrangement. How this started. Joseph went pale. Grandmother, I can explain. Shoo. She squeezed his hand weakly. Your lawyer talks too much when he drinks. I heard months ago. But it doesn't matter now. I'm so sorry. I never meant to lie to you. You lied from love. Wanted me to have peace. I understand. She looked at Arya again. But what started as a lie became truth, didn't it? I see how you look at each other. Yes, Arya said softly. It did. Good. That's what I prayed for. Love finds us in strange ways sometimes. Mrs. Park's breathing grew labored. Promise me something, both of you. Anything, Joseph said. Promise you'll choose happiness. Choose each other. Life is too short for anything else. We promise, they said together. Mrs. Park smiled, satisfied. She looked at Lily again. Be good, sunshine. Help your parents remember to laugh. I will, Lily whispered. Mrs. Park closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. The machines beeped more urgently. Nurses rushed in. Joseph pulled Arya and Lily back, making room. They stood together, Arya's arms around both Joseph and Lily, as Mrs. Park slipped away peacefully, surrounded by the family she'd wanted so desperately for her grandson. The sun was rising when they left the facility. Joseph drove in silence, tears running down his face. Arya kept her hand on his leg, a silent anchor. Back at the penthouse, Joseph went straight to his room. Arya put Lily back to bed, then stood outside Joseph's door, uncertain. Come in, he called before she could knock. He sat on the edge of his bed, still in his wrinkled clothes from the hospital. Arya sat beside him. She knew, Joseph said. She knew it was fake and she loved us anyway. It wasn't fake, Arya corrected gently. Not at the end. Maybe not for a while now. She told us to choose happiness. To choose each other. I heard. Joseph turned to her. The contract says 1 year. We're only 5 months in. But I don't want to wait. I don't want to pretend anymore. Arya, I love you. I love Lily. I want this to be real. Completely real. Arya's heart hammered. Joseph. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated. But my grandmother was right. Life's too short. I don't want to waste any more time pretending I'm not completely in love with you. I love you too, Arya admitted. I have for weeks now. Maybe months. But what about the contract? The money? Keep the money. It's yours. You earned it by giving my grandmother her last wish. But stay with me anyway. Not because of a contract. Because you want to. What about after the year? We tear up the contract. We start over. Real marriage. Real family. No end date. Arya looked at this man she'd married as a stranger. Who'd become her friend. Who'd made her daughter laugh. Who'd given them safety and stability and, somewhere along the way, love. Yes, she said. Yes to all of it. Joseph kissed her then, deep and certain. When they pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. My grandmother gave us her blessing. The least we can do is honor it. They held each other as morning light filled the room. Outside, the city woke up. Inside, 2 lonely people who'd found each other in the strangest way chose to build something real. Mrs. Park's funeral was small but beautiful. Her friends from the senior community came. Joseph's business associates. And Arya's co-workers from her old job who'd become friends. At the reception, Joseph stood with Arya and Lily, greeting people. Everyone commented on what a beautiful family they were. And this time it didn't feel like a lie. That night, after everything was done, Joseph gave Arya a small box. My grandmother wanted you to have this. Inside was a jade bracelet, delicate and beautiful. It was her mother's, Joseph explained. Passed down through generations. She told me to give it to my wife. My real wife. Arya slipped it on, feeling the weight of that gift. That trust. That acceptance. I'll treasure it, she promised. I know you will. They stood together at the windows looking at the city lights. Lily slept peacefully down the hall. The penthouse that had felt so empty now felt full of love. What happens now? Arya asked. Now, Joseph said, pulling her close. We live. We love. We raise Lily together. We make my grandmother proud. Just us against the world? Not quite, Joseph said. I need to tell you something. There's going to be a reading of the will next week. My grandmother's will. I'm expecting complications. What kind of complications? My uncle. My father's brother. He's been waiting for my grandmother to die so he could contest the family trusts. He thinks I don't deserve the inheritance because I've been unmarried and childless. Now that I'm married with a child, he's going to be furious. Will he cause problems? Probably. But we'll handle it together. Arya felt a chill of premonition. The happiness they'd found felt fragile suddenly. Like something that could be shattered. But Joseph held her close and she chose to believe in this moment. This love. This family they'd built from nothing. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. Spring arrived with warm breezes and blooming trees. Lily finished first grade at Bridgemont Academy with excellent grades. Joseph's company signed the expansion deal he'd been working on for so long. Life settled into a comfortable rhythm. They were a real family now in every way that mattered. Joseph moved his things into Arya's room 3 weeks after his grandmother's funeral. They told Lily that Joseph wanted to be her dad for real, not just on paper. Lily's response was to hug them both so tightly they could barely breathe. Arya had never been happier. She woke up next to Joseph every morning. They had lazy Sunday breakfast together. Movie nights. Simple dinners around the table. All the normal things she'd dreamed about but never thought she'd have. One Saturday in April, Joseph surprised them with a trip to the beach. They built sandcastles and collected shells. Lily played in the waves while Joseph and Arya sat on a blanket, watching her. I want to adopt her, Joseph said suddenly. Arya turned to him, surprised. What? Lily. I want to legally adopt her. Make it official that I'm her father, not just your husband. If that's okay with you. Tears sprang to Arya's eyes. Joseph, are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. She's my daughter. In my heart, she already is. I just want the paperwork to match. Yes, Arya said, kissing him. Yes, please. She'd love that. They told Lily that evening. She asked what adoption meant, and Joseph explained that it meant he'd be her daddy forever, legally and officially. Like really real? Lily asked. Really real, Joseph confirmed. Then yes, Lily said seriously. I want that. The adoption papers were filed the following week. Joseph's lawyer, Mr. Goldstein, handled everything efficiently. Life felt perfect. Too perfect. Arya should have known it wouldn't last. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. Joseph's secretary, asking him to come into the office immediately for an urgent meeting. Joseph left, promising he'd be back for dinner. He didn't come back. At 8 o'clock, Arya called him. No answer. At 9 she started to worry. At 10 Joseph finally walked through the door looking devastated. What happened? Arya asked immediately. Joseph loosened his tie, his movements mechanical. My uncle filed a lawsuit. He's contesting my grandmother's will. Can he do that? He's claiming the marriage is fraudulent. That I paid you to marry me to satisfy the terms of the family trust. He's demanding an investigation. Arya's blood ran cold. How does he know? He hired a private investigator. Got phone records from Christmas Eve. Found the transaction where I paid your landlord. Interviewed people at the cafe who saw us meet. He's built a case. But we're really married now. We really love each other. I know. But it started as a contract. He's arguing that invalidates everything. Joseph ran his hands through his hair. There's more. He's threatening to go public. Says he'll tell every news outlet that I paid you for a fake marriage. That Lily isn't really my daughter. She will be. We filed adoption papers. He's trying to block them. Claims the entire marriage is fraudulent so any adoption would be too. Arya sat down heavily. What do we do? Fight. My lawyer says we have a good case. The marriage became real. We can prove that. But it's going to be messy. Public. He's going to drag your name through the mud. Call you a gold digger. Question your motives for everything. I don't care what he says about me, Arya said fiercely. I care about Lily. About protecting her. I know. Me too. Joseph knelt in front of her, taking her hands. Arya, I need you to know something. No matter what happens, no matter what he says or does, I love you. This isn't about the contract anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. I love you too. They held each other in the quiet penthouse, both understanding that their peaceful life was about to be shattered. The lawsuit was filed officially on Thursday. By Friday, the media had picked it up. Tech billionaire pays for fake wife, read one headline. Marriage for money, the Park family scandal, read another. Arya couldn't go anywhere without cameras following her. Reporters camped outside the building. Bridgemont Academy called, concerned about the media attention affecting other students. The worst part was protecting Lily from all of it. She was too young to understand why people were suddenly interested in them, why strangers were taking pictures, why her friends' parents were asking questions. One afternoon, Lily came home from school crying. "Sophie's mommy said you married Joseph for money," she sobbed. "She said you don't really love him." Arya held her daughter tight. "That's not true, baby. I love Joseph so much. And he loves us. Don't listen to what other people say." "But why are they saying it?" "Because some people don't understand," Joseph said, joining them. He pulled both Arya and Lily into his arms. "They don't know how we started, but they definitely don't know how we became a real family. Let them talk. We know the truth." The preliminary hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks away. Joseph's uncle, Richard Park, was seeking to invalidate the marriage and contest the entire family trust. Joseph's lawyers were confident but cautious. "These cases are unpredictable," Mr. Goldstein warned. "We have evidence that the marriage became real, but the judge might focus on how it started." "Then we prove it," Joseph said. "We show them what we've built." They prepared testimony, gathered evidence, statements from friends, photos, a timeline showing how their relationship developed. Mrs. Chin, Arya's old neighbor, wrote a letter testifying to the change she'd seen in Arya. "She's never been happier," the letter said. "This is real love. Anyone can see it." Patricia, Joseph's assistant, provided a statement about how Joseph had changed. "He smiles now. He leaves work on time. He talks about his family constantly. This isn't an act." But Richard Park had evidence too. The original contract, bank records, the timeline showing how quickly they'd married. 2 days before the hearing, Richard Park called Joseph directly. "We can end this simply," Richard said. "Give up the inheritance. Walk away from the family trust. I won't contest your marriage or the adoption. You can keep your little family. Just give me what should have been mine." Joseph put the call on speaker so Arya could hear. "The inheritance was never about money for me," Joseph said. "It's what my grandmother wanted. I'm not walking away from her wishes." "Then you're a fool. I'll drag this out for years. Cost you millions in legal fees. Destroy your wife's reputation completely. Is it worth it?" Joseph looked at Arya. She nodded. "Yes," Joseph said. "It's worth it. Because we're not doing anything wrong. We fell in love. We became a family. That's not fraud. We'll see what the judge says." Richard hung up. That night, Arya couldn't sleep. She lay next to Joseph, staring at the ceiling. "Maybe we should give him the money," she whispered. "End this." "No. Joseph, think about Lily. The media attention. The stress. Is your grandmother's inheritance really worth putting her through this?" Joseph rolled over to face her. "It's not about the money. It's about standing up for what's right. My grandmother wanted me to have a family. To be happy. We honor her by fighting for that, not by backing down to a bully. But what if we lose? Then we lose. But we'll still have each other. The marriage is real, Arya. No judge can take that away from us. Can't they? If they invalidate it, then we'll get married again. As many times as it takes. I'm not letting you go." Arya closed her eyes, trying to believe him. But fear gnawed at her. Fear that everything they built would come crashing down. That Lily would be hurt. That the love they'd found would be tainted by scandal and accusations. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Me too," Joseph said, pulling her close. "But we'll get through it. Together." The night before the hearing, they had a family dinner. Just the three of them. Joseph made pancakes even though it was dinner time. Lily laughed and got syrup everywhere. After Lily went to bed, Joseph and Arya sat on their sofa, holding hands. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Joseph said, "I want you to know you've given me everything. A home. A family. Well, even if somehow we lose everything else, I'll never regret choosing you." "I love you," Arya said. "So much." "I love you too." They went to bed early, holding each other in the dark. Tomorrow would decide everything. But tonight they had this. Each other. And that had to be enough. The courthouse was intimidating. Marble floors, high ceilings, the weight of justice pressing down from every corner. Arya wore a blue dress that Joseph said looked perfect. Professional but not cold. Lily had stayed home with Mrs. Chin, spared from seeing this. Richard Park stood across the lobby with his lawyer, a severe woman in black. He looked like an older, harder version of Joseph. Same height, same build, but where Joseph's eyes were kind, Richard's were calculating. "That's him," Joseph murmured. "My uncle. He looks angry. He's been angry since the day I was born. My father built the family business, but Richard always felt entitled to more. When my parents died and everything went to me through the trust, he lost his mind. Richard noticed them and started walking over. His lawyer put a hand on his arm, but he shook her off. "Joseph," he said coldly. Then his eyes raked over Arya with obvious disdain. "This must be the gold digger." "Don't," Joseph warned, his voice hard. $500,000, Richard continued, ignoring the warning. "That's what you paid her, wasn't it? For 1 year of playing house. Quite the bargain." "You don't know anything about us," Arya said, finding her voice. "I know you saw a lonely, desperate man and took advantage. I know you have a bastard child you're trying to foist on him." Joseph stepped between them, his body tense with anger. "Walk away, Richard. Now. Or what? You'll hit me? Go ahead. Give me more evidence of your instability." Mr. Goldstein arrived, saving them from escalation. "Gentlemen, Ms. Bennett, let's focus on the hearing. Richard, your lawyer is looking for you." Richard smiled coldly. "See you in there, nephew. I'm going to enjoy watching you lose everything." The hearing room was smaller than Arya expected. Just a judge's bench, a few rows of seats, tables for both sides. Judge Martinez was a woman in her 60s with gray hair and sharp eyes. "This is a preliminary hearing," she began, "to determine if there's sufficient evidence to proceed with contesting the Park family trust and investigating claims of marriage fraud. Mr. Park," she nodded at Richard, "you have the burden of proof. Proceed." Richard's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we have evidence that Joseph Park entered into a contract marriage to satisfy the terms of his grandmother's will. Phone records show the defendants met on December 24th. Financial records show Mr. Park paid Ms. Bennett's landlord that same night. They were married 2 days later. The speed alone is suspicious." She presented the evidence. The timeline. The bank records. Everything looked damning when presented without context. Then came the testimony. A waiter from the cafe who remembered Joseph approaching Arya's table. He walked right up to her after she got dumped. Real predatory. The landlord, Mr. Henderson. She was broke one day, then suddenly all her debts were paid. Seemed weird. Even Trevor, Arya's terrible blind date, had been tracked down. She was desperate. I could tell. Then a rich guy swoops in? Come on. Each piece built a narrative. Lonely billionaire pays desperate single mom for temporary wife. Simple. Transactional. Fake. Arya felt sick. It all sounded so calculated when stripped of emotion. Then it was their turn. Mr. Goldstein called Patricia first. She testified about the change in Joseph. He's a different person now. He was drowning in work and grief before. Now he has balance, joy. That's not something you can fake for months. Mrs. Chin testified via video. I've known Arya since Lily was born. I've never seen her happier or more at peace. She loves that man. Anyone can see it. Joseph's business partner testified. Joseph turned down a massive deal in Singapore because it would mean a month away from his family. The old Joseph would never have done that. This marriage changed his priorities completely. Then Joseph took the stand. Yes, it started as an arrangement, he said clearly. I won't lie about that. My grandmother was dying. I was desperate. I met Arya by chance and made an impulsive offer. She accepted because she was equally desperate. But what started as a contract became real. I fell in love with her. With Lily. We became a family. How convenient, Richard's lawyer said. Right before your grandmother passed and the trust vested. It had nothing to do with timing, Joseph said firmly. It had to do with spending time together. Learning each other. Building something genuine. You paid her $500,000. I did. And I'd pay it again because she gave me my life back. She made me remember how to live instead of just work. The money was the least important part. Arya was called next. She was terrified, but she spoke from the heart. I made a desperate choice, she admitted. I was facing eviction. I couldn't afford to feed my daughter properly. When Joseph offered me a way out, I took it. But I never expected to fall in love with him. I never expected him to be so kind to Lily, so patient with me. We built something real from something fake. That's not fraud. That's just life. You're getting $500,000, Richard's lawyer pointed out. That's quite the motivation to claim love. I haven't taken the money yet, Arya said. I signed paperwork giving it back when we decided to make the marriage real. I don't want payment for loving him. I just want my family. That seemed to surprise everyone, including Richard. The final testimony came from an unexpected source. Mrs. Park's priest, Father Michael, who'd visited her regularly in her last weeks. Mrs. Park told me everything, he testified. She knew about the arrangement from the start. But she also told me she'd never seen her grandson happier. She believed God brought them together in an unusual way, but that didn't make the love any less real. Her dying wish was that they stay together. Convenient that she's not here to confirm that, Richard's lawyer said. I have letters, Father Michael said calmly. Mrs. Park wrote them in her final weeks. Would you like me to read them? The letters were entered into evidence. Mrs. Park's shaky handwriting telling her priest about Joseph's marriage. About meeting Lily. About the joy she felt seeing her grandson finally happy. He lied to me at first, one letter read. But the lie became truth. They love each other. I can see it. I'm not angry about the deception. I'm grateful for the result. Judge Martinez read the letters carefully. The room was silent. Finally she looked up. I'm going to adjourn for today. I need time to review all evidence. We'll reconvene in 2 days for my ruling. Outside the courthouse, media swarmed. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Arya, did you marry for money? Joseph, is your marriage a fraud? What about the child? Joseph pulled Arya close, shielding her as they pushed through to their car. His security team helped clear a path. In the car, Arya finally broke down. All the stress, the accusations, the public humiliation crashed over her. I can't do this, she sobbed. Joseph, this is too much. Lily's going to see this. She's going to read these headlines someday. She's going to know people called me a gold digger, called her a bastard. Stop, Joseph said, pulling her into his arms. None of that matters. How can you say that? Your uncle is destroying us. He's trying. But he can't destroy what's real. We know the truth, Arya. That has to be enough. Is it enough? Is love really enough when the world is against us? Joseph cupped her face, forcing her to look at him. Yes, it's enough. I promise you we'll get through this. Whatever the judge decides, we'll handle it. Together. But Arya couldn't stop crying. The weight of everything was too much. That night, she lay awake long after Joseph fell asleep, his arm around her waist. She thought about the life they'd built. The happiness they'd found. How fragile it all suddenly seemed. She thought about Lily, innocent and trusting. About protecting her from this mess. And she started to wonder if love was really enough. Or if sometimes, you had to walk away to protect the people you loved most. The morning of the judge's ruling, Arya woke with a decision crystallizing in her mind. She'd been thinking about it all night, unable to sleep, unable to stop the loop of worst-case scenarios playing in her head. Joseph was still asleep beside her. In the early morning light, he looked peaceful. Younger somehow. She memorized his face, knowing what she had to do. Quietly, she slipped out of bed and went to check on Lily. Her daughter was sleeping soundly, clutching the stuffed dinosaur Joseph had bought her months ago. Rex, she'd named him. Lily took him everywhere. Arya sat on the edge of Lily's bed, watching her breathe. Everything she'd done, every choice she'd made, had been for this little girl. The marriage. Accepting Joseph's offer. All of it to give Lily a better life. But now that better life came with cameras and accusations. With other kids asking questions. With strangers calling her mother terrible names. Was it worth it? At the courthouse, the three of them sat together waiting for the judge. Joseph held Arya's hand tightly. On her other side, Lily sat with a coloring book, trying to be good even though she clearly didn't understand what was happening. Judge Martinez entered and everyone stood. I've reviewed all the evidence carefully, she began. This is an unusual case. The marriage clearly began as a contractual arrangement. The evidence Mr. Richard Park has provided proves that conclusively. Arya's heart sank. However, the judge continued, evidence also shows the relationship evolved into something genuine. The testimony from friends, colleagues, and even Mrs. Park's own words suggest real affection developed. While the origin is questionable, the current state of the marriage appears authentic. She paused, looking directly at Joseph and Arya. I'm not finding sufficient evidence of fraud at this time. The marriage will stand as valid. The adoption proceedings can continue. However, I'm ordering a 6-month review. If at that time the marriage appears to be maintained solely for financial benefit, I'll revisit this ruling. Richard shot to his feet. This is outrageous. Sit down, Mr. Park, Judge Martinez said firmly. My ruling stands. Regarding the family trust, that's a separate matter that will require full litigation. But the marriage itself is not fraudulent. They'd won. Sort of. The marriage was valid, but everything would be scrutinized for 6 more months. The media wouldn't go away. The questions wouldn't stop. Outside, reporters mobbed them again. How does it feel to win? Joseph, will you sue your uncle? Arya, what do you say to people who still think you're a gold digger? Lily clung to Arya's leg, scared by the crowd. Joseph picked her up, trying to shield her face from cameras. Security pushed them toward the car. Back home, Joseph was elated. We won, Arya. The judge ruled in our favor. For 6 months, Arya pointed out. Then they review again. This isn't over. But we proved it's real. That's what matters. Is it? Arya looked at Lily, who'd gone to her room, unusually quiet. Lily's school called while we were in court. Parents are complaining. They don't want the media circus affecting their children. The school asked if we'd consider withdrawing her. Joseph's face fell. They can't do that. They can. And maybe they're right. Maybe we should withdraw her. Take her somewhere the cameras won't follow. We're not running away. Why not? Arya's voice rose. Why do we have to stay and fight? For what? Money you don't even need. It's not about money. Then what is it about, Joseph? Pride. Principle? Because right now, I'm watching my daughter suffer for those principles. She's suffering because my uncle is an ass. That's not our fault. Isn't it? Arya wrapped her arms around herself. We chose this. We knew it was risky. We knew people would judge. I thought you were okay with that. I thought I was too. But that was before I saw Lily crying because kids at school are calling me names. Before I had to explain to a 5-year-old why strangers take pictures of us. This isn't the life I want for her, Joseph. Joseph grabbed her shoulders gently. Then we'll move. Change schools. I don't care. But don't give up on us. I'm not giving up. I'm protecting my daughter. By what? Leaving? Arya didn't answer, but her silence said everything. No, Joseph said. Arya, no. We'll figure this out. Your uncle isn't going to stop. You heard him. He's going to drag this out for years. More hearings. More media. More scrutiny. Can you honestly tell me you want to put Lily through that? I want us to stay together and face it as a family. Maybe that's not what's best for her. Over the next few days, Arya noticed things changing. The building's doorman looked at her with barely disguised disgust. Other residents whispered when she passed. Even the friendly barista at their favorite coffee shop turned cold. The media attention didn't fade. If anything, it intensified. Opinion pieces debated whether their marriage was valid. Social media lit up with judgments. People who'd never met them had strong opinions about who they were and what they'd done. Then came the breaking point. Lily came home from school with a note from another parent that had been slipped into her backpack. Tell your gold-digging mother to leave our school. We don't want your kind here. Arya found the note when she was helping Lily unpack her bag. Lily was in the bathroom washing her hands, hadn't seen it yet. But Arya saw it, read it, and felt something break inside her. That night, after Lily was asleep, Arya started packing. Joseph found her at midnight, suitcases open on the bed. What are you doing? What I should have done weeks ago, Arya said, not looking at him. She couldn't look at him or she'd lose her resolve. Arya, stop. Talk to me. There's nothing to talk about. This isn't working. The judge might have ruled in our favor, but that doesn't change reality. People hate us. They hate me. And they're taking it out on Lily. So we move. Like I said. We'll find a new school, a new neighborhood. And when they find us again. When the next hearing happens and the media starts up again. We can't run forever, Joseph. Eventually we have to accept that this was a mistake. Don't say that. Joseph's voice cracked. Don't call us a mistake. Not us. The arrangement. The way we started. It was always going to catch up with us. But we love each other. That's real. Love isn't always enough. Arya finally looked at him, tears streaming down her face. I love you so much it hurts. But I love my daughter more. And I can't keep choosing you when it means hurting her. You're choosing for her without asking her. She's 5 years old. She doesn't get to decide this. Then I'm asking you. Joseph knelt in front of her. Please don't go. Please don't give up on us. We can survive this. Can we? Your uncle is going to fight this for years. Every 6 months, another review. Another hearing. Another chance for the media to tear us apart. I can't live like that. More importantly, I won't make Lily live like that. Where will you go? My cousin in Texas offered to let us stay with her. It's far enough away that maybe the media won't follow. Lily can have a normal life. Without me. Arya sobbed. Without all of this. The scrutiny. The judgment. The constant feeling of being watched and found wanting. I'm not letting you go without a fight. Don't make this harder than it is. Please, Joseph. This is killing me. Then don't do it. Stay. Marry me again. We'll have a new ceremony, a real one, and show everyone this is real. That won't change anything. It'll change everything. Joseph stood pacing. We'll show them we're not afraid. We'll prove it's real. We shouldn't have to prove anything. That's the point. Love shouldn't require constant evidence and validation. It should just be. It is. It can be. If you stay. Arya closed her suitcase. I can't. I'm sorry. She walked past him to Lily's room. Gently woke her daughter. Mommy? What's wrong? We're going on a trip, baby. To visit your cousin Jessie in Texas. Remember? We talked about her? Lily, confused and half asleep, nodded. Is Joseph coming? Not this time. Why not? Because adults sometimes need space to figure things out. Joseph appeared in the doorway. Can I say goodbye? Lily ran to him. He picked her up, holding her tight. I love you, Lily, he said, his voice thick. So much. You know that, right? I love you too, Daddy. Lily used the name naturally now, breaking both their hearts. I'll see you soon, okay? This is just temporary. Okay. Lily yawned against his shoulder. Joseph looked at Arya over Lily's head. Tell me this isn't goodbye. Tell me you're coming back. I don't know, Arya whispered. I honestly don't know. She took Lily from him. Carried her sleeping daughter to the elevator. Joseph followed, carrying their suitcases, not saying anything because what was there to say? In the lobby he set the suitcases down. Arya, I love you. Please remember that. Whatever happens next, I love you. I love you too. That's why I'm doing this. To protect us from more damage. By leaving? By choosing my daughter over everything else. Even you. The car service Joseph had called was waiting outside. He loaded their luggage. Opened the door for them. Stood on the sidewalk as the car pulled away. Arya watched through the rear window as Joseph stood under the street light, alone, getting smaller and smaller until he disappeared completely. Lily fell back asleep in her car seat. Arya cried silently, wondering if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life. Or the bravest choice. Texas was hot and flat and nothing like Seattle. Arya's cousin Jessie lived in a suburb of Austin in a modest ranch house with a big backyard. She welcomed them without judgment, giving them the guest room and asking no questions. The first week passed in a blur. Arya enrolled Lily in a local school under her maiden name. No one here knew about the scandal. No cameras. No whispers. Just normal, blessed anonymity. Lily adjusted surprisingly well, making friends quickly. But she asked about Joseph every night. When are we seeing Daddy again? Soon, baby. How soon? I don't know yet. Arya's phone rang constantly. Joseph called every day, sometimes multiple times. She answered occasionally, keeping conversations brief. How are you? He'd ask. We're fine. I miss you. Both of you. I know. Come home, Arya. Please. I can't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. 2 weeks after they left, Jessie cornered Arya in the kitchen. You want to tell me what's really going on? Because that man calls constantly. Sounds like he's dying without you. Arya explained everything. The arrangement, the lawsuit, the media circus, the decision to leave. Jessie listened, then said something Arya didn't expect. You're an idiot. Excuse me? You found a good man who loves you and Lily. Who tried to give you everything. And you ran away because things got hard. That's not protecting your daughter. That's teaching her that when life gets difficult, you quit. That's not fair. Isn't it? Lily was handling things fine. Kids are resilient. You're the one who couldn't take the pressure. They left her notes calling me a gold digger. One person left one note. One bitter parent in a whole school. You want to run every time someone says something mean? You'll be running forever. Arya felt anger rise. You don't understand what it was like. Maybe not. But I understand that you left a man who's clearly in love with you. Who's calling every day begging you to come back. And you won't even give him a chance to fix things. That night, Arya couldn't sleep. She lay in the unfamiliar bed, listening to Texas crickets, and admitted the truth to herself. She was scared. Scared of the judgment. Scared of failing. Scared that she wasn't enough, that the scandal would always follow them. But most of all, scared of how much she loved Joseph. Because loving him that much gave him power to hurt her. And Arya had spent so many years protecting herself and Lily from hurt. Her phone buzzed. A text from Joseph. I'm coming to Texas. We need to talk. Face to face. Please don't run again. He arrived 2 days later, driving up in a rental car looking exhausted. Arya met him on the porch while Lily was at school. You drove? Flew to Austin then drove here. I needed time to think. They sat on the porch swing not quite touching. I'm not here to drag you back, Joseph said. I'm here to give you this. He handed her an envelope. Inside were legal documents. The divorce papers. Already signed by him. What? If you really want out, I won't stop you. Sign them and it's done. Clean break. The money from the contract is yours. I've set up a trust for Lily that she'll get when she's 18, regardless of what happens between us. You'll never have to see me again if you don't want to. Arya stared at the papers, her heart breaking. But, Joseph continued, there's something else in there too. She found a second set of papers. New adoption documents. And a real proposal, handwritten. Arya, I love you. I've loved you since the first month we spent together. Maybe longer. I don't want a contract marriage. I don't want an arrangement. I want a real partnership. Real love. Real family. The lawsuit is settled. I gave Richard half the inheritance. I don't care about the money. I never did. What I care about is you and Lily. Coming home to you. Building a life together. But I can't force you to want that. So I'm giving you a choice. If you sign the divorce papers, I'll respect that. I'll stay out of your life except to be whatever presence in Lily's life you're comfortable with. Or you can marry me. Really marry me. Not in a courthouse with a stranger. A real wedding with people who love us. And we'll build the life we should have had from the start. No contracts. No end dates. Just us figuring it out together. I'll wait for your answer as long as it takes. But Arya, please know this. You're not a gold digger. You're not taking advantage. You're the woman I love. The mother of my daughter. My partner. Don't let my uncle's bitterness or stranger's judgment convince you otherwise. Arya couldn't see the paper any more through her tears. You settled with him? Gave him the money? Half of it. Enough to make him go away. The rest I'm putting in trust for Lily's future. And ours if you want it. But your grandmother wanted you to have it. My grandmother wanted me to be happy. You make me happy. Everything else is just details. Joseph, it's not that simple. Why not? We love each other. That's the only thing that actually matters. What about Lily? The media attention? The judgment? We'll handle it. Together. We'll move if we need to. Change schools. Whatever it takes. But we do it as a family, not separately. Arya looked at him. Really looked at him. At the exhaustion in his face, the hope in his eyes, the love written clearly in every line. I'm scared, she admitted. I'm terrified of failing her. Of not being enough. You're more than enough. You always have been. And you don't have to do this alone anymore. Let me help. Let me be your partner. Really? What if people still judge us? Then they judge us. We can't control what other people think. We can only control how we respond. And I choose to respond by loving you openly. By being a family. By not hiding or running. Arya thought about Jesse's words. About teaching Lily to quit when things got hard. About what kind of example she was setting. She thought about the life they'd built. The movie nights. The lazy Sunday mornings. The way Joseph made Lily laugh. The way he looked at Arya like she was everything. She thought about Mrs. Park's dying words. Choose happiness. Choose each other. I don't want a big wedding, Arya said slowly. Just small. Just people we really care about. Joseph's face transformed with hope. Is that a yes? It's a yes. Arya grabbed his face and kissed him. Yes, I'll marry you. Really marry you. I'm sorry I ran. I'm sorry I almost gave up on us. You're here now. That's all that matters. They held each other on the porch swing, the Texas sun warm on their faces, and it felt like coming home. When Lily got home from school and saw Joseph, she screamed with joy and ran to him. He caught her, spinning her around. Daddy, you came. Are we going home? Yeah, baby. We're all going home. Together. Forever. Joseph looked at Arya over Lily's head. Forever. The wedding happened 2 months later. Small like Arya wanted. Just 40 people in a garden ceremony. Jesse flew in from Texas. Patricia and Mr. Goldstein were there. Mrs. Chin and several of Arya's old co-workers. Joseph's business partner. A few close friends. Lily was the flower girl, wearing a yellow dress she'd picked out herself. She took her job very seriously, carefully dropping petals down the aisle. Arya wore a simple white dress, her hair down, the jade bracelet from Mrs. Park on her wrist. She walked down the aisle alone by choice, because she didn't need anyone to give her away. She was choosing this herself. Joseph wore a dark blue suit, and when he saw Arya, he cried. Right there in front of everyone, tears streaming down his face. The ceremony was beautiful and real. They wrote their own vows. Arya, Joseph said, you walked into my life on the worst night of yours. I offered you a business deal. Instead, you gave me a family, a home, a reason to leave work early and remember what matters. I promise to love you not because of a contract but because I choose you every single day. I promise to be the father Lily deserves, the partner you can count on, the man who will always choose you even when it's hard. Arya's turn. She squeezed his hands. Joseph, I was so lost when we met. So scared and alone. You offered me safety and I'm grateful for that. But what I'm most grateful for is that you showed me I'm allowed to be happy, that I'm worthy of love, that my daughter deserves a father who adores her. I promise to build this life with you, to not run when things get scary, to choose us over and over again. Thank you for not giving up on me even when I gave up on myself. There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Joseph kissed her like they were the only two people in the world. Lily jumped up and down, cheering. Everyone clapped. The reception was casual and happy. No fancy speeches, just food and laughter and dancing. Lily fell asleep on a bench, exhausted from excitement. Joseph carried her to the car when it was time to leave, Arya following, and they looked like what they were, a family. Back home they tucked Lily into bed together. She stirred as Joseph kissed her forehead. Love you, Daddy. Love you too, sunshine. In their room, Arya and Joseph finally had a moment alone. Hi, wife, Joseph said, pulling her close. Hi, husband. Feel different this time? Yeah, it really does. No regrets. About running to Texas? A few. About coming back? Not a single one. They stood at their windows looking out at the city. The same view they'd had for months, but somehow it looked different now. Brighter. Full of possibility. 6 months later, Arya stood in the bathroom staring at a pregnancy test. 2 pink lines. She found Joseph in his office working on his laptop. Hey, she said. Hey, everything okay? She handed him the test. Joseph stared at it, then at her. Really? Really? He stood up so fast his chair rolled backward. Pulled her into his arms. We're having a baby? We're having a baby. Lily's going to be so excited. She is. But Joseph, are you happy? Is this okay? Are you kidding? This is amazing. You're amazing. He kissed her deeply. Our family keeps growing. That evening they told Lily over dinner. She screamed with joy. A brother or sister? Really? Can I help name them? Sure, baby, Arya said, laughing. You can help. I'm going to be the best big sister ever. Later, lying in bed with Joseph's hand on her still flat stomach, Arya thought about the journey that had brought them here. From a desperate Christmas Eve arrangement to this. Real love. Real family. A baby on the way. What are you thinking about? Joseph asked. About how none of this was in the plan. Best things never are. Your grandmother would be happy. Yeah, she would. Joseph kissed Arya's shoulder. We honored her wish. We chose happiness. And love. That too. Outside, snow began to fall. Their first Christmas as a real married couple approached. The penthouse was decorated with a tree Lily had insisted be covered in pink ornaments. Presents were starting to pile underneath. Joseph's company was thriving. Arya had started volunteering at a community center, teaching life skills to single mothers. Lily was excelling at her school, happy and confident. The media had moved on to other scandals. Richard Park had taken his money and disappeared from their lives. The judge's 6-month review had been a formality, approving their marriage without question. Everything had fallen into place. Not perfectly. Not easily. But real and solid in theirs. Hey, Joseph said. I love you. I love you too. Forever. Forever. And in that moment, in their bright home full of love and laughter and life, Arya believed it. Not because of a contract or a promise or even the baby growing inside her. But because they'd chosen each other. Over and over again. Through scandal and judgment and fear. They'd chosen love. And love was enough. Epilogue. 3 years later. Arya stood in the kitchen of their new house, a sprawling suburban home with a big backyard and room for everyone. Lily, now 9, helped her younger brother Jack walk, the toddler laughing as he stumbled. Joseph came home from work, loosening his tie. He'd cut back his hours significantly, working from home 2 days a week to be present for the kids. How was your day? Arya asked, kissing him. Good. Boring. How were the monsters? Lily got an A on her science project. Jack learned 3 new words. Which words? Juice, more, and apparently no, is his new favorite. Joseph laughed and picked up Jack, who shrieked with delight. That evening, after the kids were in bed, Joseph and Arya sat on their back porch watching fireflies. You know what today is? Joseph asked. Thursday? 4 years since we got married. The first time. Arya blinked. I'd actually forgotten. Me too, until I saw the date this morning. Joseph pulled her close. 4 years. Feels like forever and no time at all. Are you happy? Deliriously. Even though we're boring now? Suburbs and minivans. Especially because we're boring. This is what I wanted all along. A home. A family. Someone to be boring with. Arya laughed. Romantic. I try. They sat in comfortable silence, the kind that only comes from really knowing someone. Hey, Joseph. Yeah. Thank you. For what? For not letting me give up. For following me to Texas. For choosing us even when it was hard. Always, he said simply. I'll always choose us. Inside, Jack started crying. Probably a nightmare. They both stood, but Joseph waved Arya back. I got it. She watched him go inside, this man who'd started as a desperate stranger and become everything. Father to her children. Love of her life. Her partner in every sense of the word. 4 years ago, she'd walked into a cafe heartbroken and terrified. Today, she had everything she'd never dared to dream of. Not because of money or contracts or circumstances, but because when given the choice between walking away and fighting for love, they'd both chosen love. Every single time. And that made all the difference.